If by luck you can find that Ezer Kenegdo, hold on to him or her, embrace the collegiality, and both of you will be better for the experience. There's no doubt in my mind that Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan had this special and unique bond. In our Parsha this week, Parshat Vaera, we are presented with two examples of this sort of reflective relationship. The more obvious one is the relationship between Aharon and Moshe. These two brothers serve as complementary leadership figures throughout the biblical narrative. When one is weak, the other is strong. When Moshe is afraid to speak before the people, Aaron serves as his spokesman. Later, while wandering in the desert, Aaron is convinced by the people to build the Egel HaZahav, the golden calf. Moshe reins him in and helps him to recognize it's a pretty bad idea. Their relationship is one of reflective compensation. When you work with your Ezer Kenegdo, you help each other and compensate for their weaknesses in the other. Not because you need a boost to your ego, but because the overall goal is more important than the individual accomplishments. The less obvious reflective relationship in our Parsha is between Pharaoh and his assistants. One can easily imagine the following scene occurring in Egypt after each of the plagues. The plague occurs. Pharaoh gathers his assistants, turns to them and says, "Is this for real? Can you also do this, or is this truly the work of some higher god?" The assistants originally nod their heads, at first responding, "Don't worry about it, Pharaoh, we can take care of it," and they do. But eventually, after the plagues of God can't be replicated so easily by the assistants, they look at each other and say, "We've got a problem. Clearly the God of the Israelites is more powerful." The assistants, essentially the co-workers of Pharaoh, help him to realize what is reasonable and what isn't reasonable. Perhaps they weren't entirely successful in this endeavor, which led to the later plagues and the strong, stubborn streak of Pharaoh, but they at least tried to help Pharaoh be reflective. They pointed out his potential weaknesses and attempted to help him be the most effective leader possible. Whether you relate most to the parable of the light fixture, the sugya from Baba Metzia, or the examples from Parshat Shavua, I hope that it's clear that being what Donald Schoen coined for the education world in 1983, a reflective practitioner, can be a very powerful experience. In education circles, being reflective is generally thought of as an individual, inner soul-searching experience. I'd like to suggest, however, that true reflective practice can best be achieved when you have found your Ezer Kenegdo. Allowing someone to critique, analyze, and try to help you is the first step. The harder step, however, is really to listen to the feedback, take it to heart, and make some important changes. Finding that helpmate and opening yourself up to the analysis is an important part of growth, but really being able to absorb all of the feedback and change is one of the hardest things in this world to do. I think that we as an organized Jewish community do an amazing job at lots of things, but in particular, helping to build up the confidence of our constituents and our students. We help people feel good about who they are, what they say, and how they lead their lives. That our institutions can be seen as safe spaces where real growth and learning can occur is special and indeed very important. I think, however, we provide a bit of a disservice to people when we don't help them form reflective relationships. The harsh reality is often difficult, sometimes crushing to hear, but I believe in the long run will be most beneficial to the individual. It is not easy to share critical feedback, but it could turn out to be a life-changing experience if the person hears the reality instead of sugarcoating our evaluations. Better we provide this type of framework in a supportive and loving community in which we can also help build up the individual. In my own life, and I'm sure in all of yours, you can think of a time just like this that has turned out to be very helpful. Let me share but one relevant example with all of you. As I stand here today, soon to be ordained rabbi of the seminary, I can't help but recall my first interaction with this institution, something that I look forward to sharing in this setting for a very long time. When I applied to List College, I was rejected for admission, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I can say it with a nod and a smile and a laugh because of the life experiences that I've been able to have in the time since that dreadful year of rejection. When I met with Dean Shirley Schwartz as an 18-year-old high school student in her office, she could have smiled, which I'm sure she was doing. She could have accepted me and pushed aside the atrocious record that was my high school transcript. It was really bad. Instead, though, she explained how academically challenging the seminary could be, and that based on my academic record, she was concerned that it would be a bit of a struggle. Reading those words of rejection was not easy, but had that not happened, I feel pretty confident that I would not be where I am today. In that moment, she served as my Ezer Kenegdo in a reflective relationship, helping me to become a better version of myself. Thanks. Finally, I want to conclude with something that Chancellor Arnold Eisen has taught repeatedly over the past few years. It's our job as rabbis to draw the best out of the people with whom we work. Everyone has a story, a special trait or attribute to contribute. Sometimes it takes a little detective work to seek out the good, but if we are diligent in our work and spend the time it takes to truly develop real relationships, then we will no doubt be able to find the gems present in each neshama, each soul. Let me push this teaching a step further and suggest that as we help each individual demonstrate their talents, we also need to become their mirrors. As educators, we play a unique role in helping people become the best versions of themselves. So as we go out into this world to lead the Jewish people and serve as mirrors for our students, remember to seek out your own mirrors, your own Reish Lakish, your own Aaron and Moshe, and develop true reflective relationships. It will allow you to rise to a better version of yourself. It takes a bit of vulnerability that can be humbling, but when done effectively, you can soar to new levels you never even thought imaginable. And if you need help or encouragement along the way, look no further than the light fixture above your dining room table.